Okay, in this one, we're starting on project number 27. And so I do want you to go ahead and read this. Of course, remember to smash the like and subscribe. By the way, that is a joke. I'm really not concerned if people like or subscribe to these things. I couldn't imagine why you'd want to. So, anyways, moving along on project number 27. Just I hear every other YouTuber say, remember to hit like and subscribe. Yeah, so moving along, we're going to take a look at this one here. Now, this one here, we're going to be doing or making quite a few slides. I will tell you that if when we use 20-point font, it's going to fit, but it's going to be close on some of these. Just so you're aware that it will work, it's going to be close. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use that blank background right now. I can come in later and choose to change all the theme on the slides. I will tell you some of these did not leave enough room for the assignment to work. Also, don't use things like this. Okay, I know it looks cool, the black with the white letters and all. The problem is it's really hard to read from the other side of the room. And the whole point of presentation slides is to make it easy to convey information. Okay? So we're working on this one here. We're talking about insurance, types of insurance. And one of the things, of course, about insurance is that peace of mind protection. So and the subtitle, normally in the subtitle, I'll just tell you, you normally put like the names of the people that were involved in it and a few things like that. Do note that if you leave that subtitle blank, nothing's going to show. Okay, so you don't need to worry too much about that. But in this one, they do want a subtitle put in types of insurance coverage. And notice that title case again, that the word of isn't super necessary and it does not get capitalized. And you'll see that in their example also. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And for the next slide, sorry, I want to go ahead and I want to use this one right here. If you look in the book, this one matches what we're going to be doing the best. So I'm going to one column text and I'm going to click on that one. Good. I'm going to pause for just one moment, okay? Okay, so I'm going to be moving some stuff around here on this one. So I'm just go ahead, types of insurance coverage. Yeah, typo. Go ahead and make this again Times New Roman. And we'll go ahead and make this here bold. On mine, I got to click on the three dots. And I'm going to stretch this out just a little bit so that it actually fits in that box. Then I'm going to center this box. I'm going to go ahead and select the stuff in here. I'm going to center align it. We're going to leave this box center aligned. I realize it didn't make much of a difference right then, but it will later. I'm going to click in the box. I'm going to grab that box. Come on. And now I'm going to move it till I see that red line appear. I'm going to take it to the top. Okay, good. I'm going to be making this box here a little bit bigger and basically about half the width. Where's that red line? There it is. Good. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and copy some stuff in. I already gave you this in the example, so I'm going to copy that in. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. Okay, project 27. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this here and copy it. Control C. Oops, what happened there? Go ahead and copy that again. Control C. And we'll place that in here and Control V. Now, remember, on a slide, you shouldn't have anything smaller than 20-point font. 20 is not an option, so I'll just key it in. Okay. Now, what happens if you just have more stuff than will fit with 20-point font? Okay. Get rid of stuff. That's simple. Or try resizing stuff like that. But the thing is, once you get smaller than 20-point font, I realize it doesn't look at that look. You notice how I put the bullets in. It doesn't look that way on your screen, but it gets very hard for people to read when they're watching your presentation. And again, the whole point of presentation isn't for you, the person creating the slides. It's for the person trying to get information from that presentation. If you're wondering where I'm getting this from, where I'm copying from, it's from right here. I'm just working my way down, if you're wondering what I'm doing. Okay, so you may need to open the textbook to see what you're supposed to be doing here. Auto insurance, enter homeowners insurance. Yes, 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 I see. Homeowners. Yes, I'm in homeowners, obviously. Life insurance. Well, make sure you're spelling the word insurance right. I've got some really absurd spellings of insurance in this lesson. Make sure you're spelling insurance right, okay? Let's see, which one do you life insurance, health insurance, disability insurance. Okay, you can see that it's starting to get smaller here. Okay, so we're going to have to deal with that in a minute. Okay, and travel insurance. So a couple things we can do. We can widen this box up a bit in this direction too, which is going to pull some stuff further up. Okay, and that seems to now be about the size we want. Basically, we don't want to have our text right against the edge. Again, that looks kind of crummy. We don't want to, and we're going to be putting a picture, an image in here, so we want to have some room, but we do want to make sure that this stuff stays at 20-point font. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to bump this up a little bit, just like that, so I can bring this up just a tiny bit. Okay, good. Now I just want to, I just clicked on that, triple clicked, so that I can copy it, Control C, click here. I'm going to insert an image, search the web, Control V, enter. And you're going to find one that kind of looks like insurance to you. Okay. Honestly, none of these are really great on this one. I did notice that. So I think I went with that one. Okay, that's good enough. And insert. Okay, so move that to there. So you want to basically try to get it centered up and down. Now, the next thing they want us to do here is to put an oval around it. This one here is going to be kind of pointless. I'll just tell you that. So I'm not going to be doing that next step on this one, but I will show you it in some future slides. I can show it now. I mean, just shapes. So what I clicked on here was crop image. It looks like two rectangles overlapping each other. Shapes. Come on, shapes over here. Oval. Now I'm just, okay. And so we've got the oval right there. That looks fine. And enter. Or just click somewhere else. And there we go. Again, this one here, it doesn't stand out very well. We'll see it work in some others. But from this point on, this exercise gets really easy because the reality is I want you to take some time, make sure this one looks good. Because everything else, we're just going to be copying this one. Right click, duplicate slide. What's the next one going to say? We're on slide number 3. We're on slide number 3. Slide 2, slide 3. There it is. Auto insurance. So I'm going to come up here. Auto. Our insurance. Get rid of that word coverage. And that's why I chose center align right there, because that'll now snap in correctly. Okay, now automobile insurance. Automobile insurance covers losses due to an accident. The most common reason for having automobile insurance is to cover replacement on repair on an expensive asset. That's nonsense. The most common reason for having auto insurance because it's required by law. Control C. That said, if it's a newer car, or if you're still making payments, you certainly want to have full coverage on it so that if something were to happen to it, you wouldn't be left paying for a car that has now been destroyed. Okay. But on older cars, a lot, and this kind of goes to our previous lesson. On older cars, a lot of people just make the decision to only have that public liability insurance that's required by law, Control V. And I'm going to get rid of this bullet by clicking right here and backspacing again. Okay, and selecting all of this. And because there isn't really a whole lot to do, 12.5. So on a newer car, certainly, just carrying the minimum isn't appropriate. But on an older car, it might be a decision you make that you accept that if something happens to the car, you're going to replace your car completely. But there is a minimum amount required by law, quite reasonably. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit, and on this one, just backspace over, get rid of that whole image. And I triple clicked on the word auto insurance, Control C. And where am I going? There's where I'm going. Click over here, insert image, search the web, Control V, enter. There was one here I thought was cute. Doesn't mean you have to use the one I thought was cute. And of course, now you know what? I cannot find it. I do not see it here anywhere. So, not a big deal. Okay. So I'll just go to this one. Sure. Go ahead and center that up and down. By the way, there's something else I wanted to show you here. Sometimes you might want a bigger picture, and you saw what just happened. It was if you've got it over the text and you cut the text off. Now, don't do that on this lesson because there's none on this lesson that's really appropriate for. But if this occurs and you really want that text and you really want the picture there, just like that, what you can do is go ahead and right-click on that image and come down here to Order and select Send to Back. And now you can see that the text is over this. Now, something to be aware of, if you look closely, you'll see that this text has that little white highlighting cutout. I know it's really hard for you to see if you're looking at this on your screen at home, but it's got that cutout there. And so if that happened, if you're doing this, you still need to come over here, and instead of using white, you need to use transparent. And that again makes it's still visible. I'm just going to tell you that, but it looks a little bit better. So if you want to, sometimes you need to change the order of your images, and you just do that by right-clicking on the image and going to Order and saying what order you want that in. Okay, just so you're aware. Now on this one, as I said, that's not really super appropriate, so we're just going to do that. Okay, and I will go ahead and I will click on Crop Image right here. And I'm going to choose a shape, and the shape I'm going to choose is an oval again. And you see the oval right there cut out, and that looks good. I'll hit enter, and now just click somewhere, and you can see that oval cut out around it. Good. Okay, good. That was auto insurance. Let's go to the next one here, slide number 4. So right-click on 3, duplicate slide. Yeah, I told you it was going to go fast. Homeowners insurance. Getting rid of the picture here because we're not going to use that right now. Coming back over here to where you've got the given. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and select everything, make that 20-point font right now. Come up here, double click on this, Control C, and insert image from the web, Control V, enter. And I don't see anything that I think looks awesome, so I'll go with this one, homeowners insurance. Good. And insert. Good. Move that. And they do want you using that oval on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue using this on these. A couple of comments on homeowners insurance. Somewhere here also covers injury to somebody else on your property. And this is one of the reasons why it is so important to have homeowners insurance, is because if somebody gets hurt, like maybe your friend's over and something happens, your friend's family isn't going to sue you. They're going to go to a hospital, get it taken care of, and they're going to bill it to their insurance company like they should. And then what's going to happen is their insurance companies can turn around and sue you. Okay, just to be aware, this is the reason why it's so important to have homeowners insurance. Your friend isn't going to sue you. They're your friends. Hopefully they're not going to. But their insurance company will. And so that is one of the reasons it is so important to have that homeowners insurance policy. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to crop again. Shapes. Again, the oval. And that looks about right. Click over here. So you can see how we're doing these ovals, just that it's really easy to put those in. And let's see here. We're going to come over here to this slide, right click on it, duplicate slide. We are now on slide number 5. Slide number 5, life insurance. And I always have students, because I make the comment that life insurance is not for the living or for the dead. I'm sorry. It's for the living. It's for the people left behind. It's, like if you've got a single wage earner in your house, Control C, uh, and something happens, what's going to happen to the family? And so this is one of the reasons people get life insurance, Control C. And it is important to a lot of people. And so now somebody in class asked, well, why don't they call it death insurance? In some countries, they actually do. Okay. In some countries, they really do. In the US, we don't. Okay, life insurance. And so we're going to go over and get another picture here. Click over here somewhere, doesn't matter where. Insert image, upload, no, search from web. And here I'm just going to go to life. And yeah, I like that one. Okay, we're going to go with that one. Insert, grab that, get it centered. And again, we'll put that oval around it, primarily because the book wants the oval. You notice I'm clicking on it to get to the cropping scene screen shape, oval. That look okay? Yeah, that looks okay. And click somewhere else. And there we go. Okay. And let's go to the next one. The next slide is slide 6, health insurance. So I'm going to right click on slide 5, duplicate slide. One of the things I want you getting from this is how quickly it is to crank out these slide sets. It is not something that takes 2 days to do. You can crank out these slide sets once you have an idea as to what you're going to be putting on them pretty quickly. Control C. And coming back over here, wrong one. I'm going to move this over to somewhere closer to what I'm actually doing. That'll work better. Okay, now I'm on the health insurance one. I copied the words health insurance. I'm going to go ahead, select that. Control V, health insurance. You all know what I'm going to do here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. There we go. It worked finally. 20. Okay, and come back over here, clicking over here, getting rid of that image, coming up here, format, no, insert, image, search the web, health insurance. And health insurance is extremely important, particularly here in the States, where quite simply, yeah, a medical cost can be very high. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Now I want to make this one bigger. So if I want to resize an image, and you saw me do this earlier, don't go to these these side sizing handles for images unless you got a really good reason why you're doing it. Always go to the corner sizing handles, these square boxes, till you see that diagonal. That way it maintains the ratio, and you don't wind up with pictures that look weirdly stretched out and strange stuff done to them. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. You know what I'm going to do? They want that oval applied to all of these, primarily because they want you to see how to apply the oval. I mean, we could do something different. We can go over here. Let's go over rounded corners. Good. So you got rounded corners. So you can get if you want to put the oval in, that's fine too. Okay. I just want to make sure you see that you can do other cutouts than just the oval. You can use any of those for a cutout. Okay, where were we? We were on health insurance, travel insurance. So what am I doing? That's what I'm doing. Right click, duplicate slide. Yeah, this will be the last video I'm doing today. And what have I got there? I got travel insurance after health. I got disability insurance. My mistake. Disability insurance. And this is important for replacing part of your income. Now, most of the time, part of this is covered by Control C, state disability. Typically, a small part, maybe your parents see it come out of their paycheck. Maybe their company pays for it entirely, but a small amount of insurance is paid in order to ensure that if something happens to a person that on the job, Control V, that at least some of their salary will be paid back. Okay. And so let's see here. Specified number of years, yes. Again, most states, that's a requirement on an employer. It just depends on the state. Okay, and what was I doing? I was going to go ahead and insert image, search the web. You notice that by doing it this way, we get slides that are very, very similar looking. And that actually looks better. I know you might say, well, that kind of you like sort of having them jump around from image to image so people never know what's coming next. But the reality is that's not easy on the viewer. And the entire point of these slides, what did I just do? Let's try that again. Shapes, oval. Good. Okay, the entire point of these slides is to make sure that it's easy for the viewer to find the information that you are presenting on the slide. And so by using a very standardized format here, again, it's just easier for the person watching your slides to see what's going on. So it isn't just being lazy, it's actually a case of doing it right. Okay. And so we're going to come over here, right click on this slide, duplicate slide. This one here says Control Z. Says travel insurance. Big surprise, and come back over here. Now, I will tell you that I have flown a lot, and I almost never buy travel insurance, Control C. There have been a couple of times I have, but because I really wasn't sure when I was going. Now, that being said, if you're flying out of Liberal, Control C or Control V, if you're flying out of Liberal, you need to make sure you buy your entire ticket in one thing. In other words, like I typically go to either Kayak or Microsoft site to do this and buy the ticket in one single purchase. The reason is that if you go to like this airplane company's ticket and you buy one ticket from them, you go to another airplane company, buy one ticket from them, and you're saying, but it's a little bit cheaper if I do it this way. And sometimes it is, usually it isn't. I've priced it out. But the problem there is, and again, particularly flying from Liberal, is nobody is responsible for that flight end to end other than you. And here in Liberal, I will tell you that they have literally, because I felt it was a lot, so I started actually keeping track. It was 1/3 of the time they missed the flight schedule so terribly, meaning the planes were late coming in or out from Liberal, that literally they had to put me in a hotel that night and put me on another plane the next day. Now, if you bought the whole trip on one ticket, it's their responsibility to do that. If you went around and sort of piecemealed it and bought one ticket here, one ticket there, one ticket there, nobody's responsible for making sure you make your connections except you. And it's sort of a bad plan from here in Liberal. But certainly that's a case where a person would be interested in buying travel insurance. The other thing about travel insurance to be aware of is to make sure that you're not doubling up on something, because a lot of travel insurance is actually included in your credit cards. So you want to know what you've already paid for, because there's no reason to pay for it twice. Search the web, travel. And what am I going to do? Which one? I'm going to go with that one, sure. Insert. Move it to the centered. I'm still on it. Crop, shape, come on, crop, shape. We're still doing the oval. Like I said, you can use others. It's you can do that. I mean, so I'm as long as I can. Ooh, we can't do that. Do you see why? Yeah, that one didn't work. So we're gonna undo that one. Crop, shape. Let's try oval. That still doesn't work. Crop, shape. Okay, I think on this one we are going around a rectangle. Okay, because you see the issue that it was cut off. By the way, make sure you spell insurance right on these slides, because if you, the problem with doing it the way I'm showing you to do it, of simply duplicate, 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 is the point I made. You got to get it right the first time, or you wind up with stuff that looks like garbage. If you spelled insurance wrong the first slide and you just keep duplicating it, trust me, that's what everybody's going to see if you're making a presentation, and that's what I'm going to see when I'm grading. It just jumps out at me. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so this last slide, okay, so, and we are going to go ahead and duplicate. So go ahead and right click on the slide here, duplicate slide. Like I said, this is the last one I'm doing today. Getting tired. This last one, I will tell you on where it says slide 9, which is step 11 in your book, if you're looking at your book right now, is I don't like the way they did this. We're going to do it their way, but I'm going to tell you that it doesn't come out looking the way I'd like it to. I would have put the entire table on its own slide. Okay, that said, we're going to go ahead up here, and so we're going to go ahead and put in up here policy limits and conditions. Okay, now that's already centered. I am actually going to move that up a tiny bit more, okay, because we need space for this one. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this text right here. Backspace. Coming over here to our text. In addition to the different types of coverage, insurance policies have certain limits and conditions as described in this table. Control C. Control V. I'm going to go ahead and select all of this. I'm going to go ahead and make that 20-point font. Now, on this one, I'm going to do stuff a bit differently because it's a challenge to fit everything onto this page and make it look halfway decent. So this one, I went to full width. I'm also going to grab the bottom side. And by the way, if you're wondering where I did that, I went to the sizing. Like I said, there are times I go to the ones on the sides. See how it turned into a two-pointed arrow? Just grab that, drag it over. I'm going to go to this bottom sizing handle. I'm going to pull that up too. Oops, that resized my text. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put in a table. So we want to put in a table that will be, I'm looking at the directions. Where is that? It's going to be 2 by 6. So down in here, insert, table, 2 by 6. Good. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is basically make this fit my page here. So I'm going to go to this corner here. You see where I'm at right there with the two-pointed with the diagonal arrow. And I'm going to drag that down to that corner right there. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to drag that out to there. Okay. Now I'm going to start typing into here limits and conditions. Good. And I'll come over to here and I'm going to put in description. And that was a typo number. There we go. Okay. I am going to make both of these just in case you're wondering. Times New Roman. 20-point font. Okay. And I'm going to be making the an enter. And we're going to make those bold, assuming that bold shows. Okay. Bold. Okay. Now I'm going to take this word description right here. I'm not going to do this to the others, okay, just so you know. I'm going to center that in 2 directions. The first thing I'm going to do is center it side to side. Now I'm going to center it up and down, okay, just so you know. Okay, the next thing we're going to start doing is over here, and the only thing we're going to do is put in Times New Roman. We're not going to make it 20-point font because, frankly, it won't fit. And this is something I don't like about this particular part of the exercise, but it's what they've got. So coverage limits. Coverage costs. Good. Deductible amounts. And by the way, my joke about like and subscribe, I do understand why people do that on their videos because they're getting compensation for the ad revenue. Trust me, I'm not getting any compensation for the ad revenue on this. At least I'm not that I don't know. I don't know of any. Exclusions and conditions. Okay. You did notice that this stopped, that the format here changed. So I'm going to go back to the one that's formatted the way I want it. You guys know exactly what I'm going to do. Just drag that over the other stuff so it's all the same. Now, the next thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to the center line here, and you see how my cursor turns into the 2 up and down vertical lines and the 2 arrows. I'm going to press and hold the left mouse button down. I'm going to drag that guy all the way over to here. That's a little bit too much because you see the words are cut off. And so I don't want any words cut off. That's my line. There we go. Now no words have been cut off. And that's basically all we cared about there. We do see that this extended past the bottom here. Do you see how that happened? I'm going to have to pull that back up a little bit. Okay. Now, I do want to make sure that all of this is centered up and down. Okay. So I'm going to come over here, center a line. I just want this one. Okay, that's the only one I want. So now things are centered up and down. We may end up doing this again in a few minutes to clean it up because of the size of the stuff we're bringing in, just to tell you. So coverage limits, that your policies are not going to pay to anything, okay? That they're Control C, are limits to the amount that the insurance company will pay on certain things, Control V. Okay, so, and we're not going to resize these yet. We'll get to that in a few minutes. And so there are limits. The next thing here is to check to make sure that you know what the cost of your coverage is. And sometimes you want other things covered, Control C. And so you want to make sure that you're actually covering what you think you want covered and how much extra that's going to cost you. Deductible amounts. Okay, your deductibles. This is the amount you pay before the insurance company starts to pay. Control C, Control V. Some people carry very high deductibles, like they see here, 500 in collision. Some people will be like $1,000, $2,000. Why would they do that? Why would they say, I'll willingly pay the first $2,000 on if my car gets damaged? Because the insurance cost is going to be a lot less at that point, because the insurance company is probably going to have to pay out a lot less. And so that is the reason you might go for high deductibles. But the thing about high deductibles, you do have to ask yourself the question, could I come up with that money today? And that's an important thing to ask. If you can, and you know that not only today, but any day you could do that, well, then a high deductible might make sense to you. Okay. Know what's excluded, what's not covered. I mean, the classic, a lot of policies, Control C, exclude things like flying in private airplanes and skydiving. Okay, so if that's excluded, you just want to be aware of it. Okay, if you're into skydiving, you might have to get your policy changed a little bit. Control C, and that would fit right up here of the type of coverage that it is. So if skydiving isn't covered, it's excluded, and you really want that skydiving covered, you need to make sure that it does get covered. Okay, and you're probably going to have to pay quite a bit extra for it if you go skydiving a lot. Control V. Okay, now that I've got all these in, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select these. I'm going to try to get this as big as I can, okay, before it messes up. 1, 2. Okay, that's about as big as I can get it. You see that the bottom line already shifted on me. So I'm going to go back. Okay, now we've got all this stuff in. Now, there are 2 ways to go on this one. I want to show you both, and then I'm going to tell you which one you probably should use for this particular assignment. The table, the lines on the table. Okay, sometimes you'll be doing something for school and you'll put a table on a slide set and you'll want that table to really stand out. And again, a table is simply information organized in columns and rows, okay? And you want it to really stand out. So I come over here to the border color, I go with black, I come over here, I make that 3-point. And when we look at the slide there, it sort of stands out pretty strongly. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close this. Now, on this one, I'd recommend getting rid of the lines altogether, okay? I think it's going to work better for you. So I'm going to come up here to line color, the black, the pencil-looking thing, border color, and I'm going to choose white. Now, because it's on white paper, when I look at that slideshow, you can see that doesn't show up at all, okay? Because a lot of people, they wind up with those lines going off the page and stuff, and the way they've got it there just doesn't look good. So this is probably going to work better for you. Okay, that was the entire assignment. Go ahead and turn it in. It was pretty easy.